So you mean to tell me that Charlie Kirk was shot and killed on a college campus with predominantly white students and possibly shot and killed by a white sniper, and white people woke up the next day, today, and chose to call black colleges across the country with terrorist threats? What we did. Stop putting us in y'all white people mess. Stop putting us in y'all white people mess.
I guess it's just not clocking to me, like Justin Bieber said. He was unalived at a predominantly white school in a predominantly white state by a white man. And y'all targeted black students at HBCUs? Where is the correlation? I don't know. This feel like an LSAT question and I can't figure it out. Because why did we catch stray? Like, it's not clocking to me. It's just not clocking to me.
White America, let's talk for a second. Charlie Kirk gets shot by another white dude, which makes it white on white crime, right? Right. So why is it that in response to that, the day after it happened, a whole bunch of HBCUs get hit with a bunch of bomb threats? Black people weren't involved in this shit. Like, for real, make it make sense. How are black people the problem? We ain't have nothing to do with the man getting assassinated. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Please tell me how is threatening HBCUs going to help the situation about Charlie Kirk? I just want to know. Please make this make sense. A white man kills another white man at a rally that's predominantly white, and black colleges get threatened in response to it the next day. What the fuck? White America, this is the type of shit us black people be talking about. We don't even have shit to do with this, and black colleges are still getting thrown in the mix. Make it make sense, people. And I'ma say it like this. Even if you don't agree with everything Charlie Kirk has said, myself included, doesn't mean we should go around harming each other. Even Charlie Kirk said we need to get back to a point where we can disagree with each other without wanting to hurt each other. So can we do that? I just want to know.
Right before Charlie Kirk got popped, someone asked him, "Do you know how many mass shootings have happened in America in the past 10 years? He replied, "Counting or not counting gang violence." Then pop, he was about to shift the blame for mass shootings on us. And now for some reason, 8 historically black colleges and universities are under threat. Campus lockdowns and all. All this because Charlie got popped in Utah, where the black population is 1.2%? What is it about whiteness that y'all can never blame yourselves? How did you come to the conclusion that you are as sinless as Christ himself? And now they want to put a statue of Lil Charlie in the US Capitol, comparing him to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Do you know what school Lil Charlie went to? That would give him the authority to speak on religion, to speak on race, to speak on politics. No, you don't. Because Lil Charlie dropped out of Harper College in Chicago. His first claim to fame was stopping a price increase on cookies at his high school. You can't make this up. Then he wrote an article for Breitbart, alleging liberal bias in textbooks. That affirmative action him an appearance on Fox Business. This is your king? Because the only one I know is Dr. King. PhD in systematic theology from Boston University. The one who wrote 5 books, who electrified the masses, and didn't have to cut his speeches into clips to do so. See, what y'all not gonna do is conflate these two legacies. Because Dr. King challenged America to live up to the democracy it claimed to be. Lil Charlie, he just repeated fascism, Christian fundamentalism, without critical thinking, might I add, misogyny, really anything that got him paid. America, not only are we not your scapegoat, you really don't even deserve to live in our shadows.
And for the white folks who don't understand how the fuck crazy y'all are, let me say this. Oh boy, who got pew-pewed, okay, y'all know who I'm talking about. It was another white man that allegedly pew-pewed him. But guess what? No matter what happens in this world, it gotta be black folks' fault. Several HBCUs have been seriously threatened to the point where they have shut down the HBCU universities in the South. Because this man, I'm not even gonna say his name, was pew-pewed and unalived by another white man. But somehow, it's our fault. Everything our fault. It gotta be. It gotta be. It gotta be. I mean, why wouldn't it be? I mean, we get blamed for every goddamn thing.
I really do think that people are using what happened to Charlie Kirk as a way to incite violence, because Black people have nothing to do with what happened yesterday, but yet HBCUs are being threatened. What do HBCUs have to do with what happened yesterday? It occurred at a university in Utah, and you're threatening HBCUs in the South. Somebody do the math for me. Somebody do the math for me. It's not making sense. It's not making sense. Somehow Black people are always going to be at fault for everything. And it's really, really exhausting.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Joe Reports, where we get an outsider's view, then insider's clarity. When America found out about Charlie's unaliving, the reactions across America were mixed. Some people saw it as the end of a divisive voice, while others painted him as a martyr. But in the middle of all that chaos, one of the most bizarre narratives started floating around. Somehow, historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, are now under threat because of Charlie Kirk's unaliving. And honestly, that has to be one of the most ridiculous connections people have tried to make in a long time. What do Black colleges have to do with Charlie? The answer is nothing. Yet, once again, Black people are being dragged into a conversation that isn't theirs to carry. Before we proceed, all credit goes to the creators of these videos. Let me play you a few more clips and I'll come back with more commentary.
Let me get this straight. Charlie Kirk gets unalived in Utah. The first suspect that is detained is white. The second people that are suspected is also Caucasian, right? How y'all get to HBCUs? The fact that you want Black people to feel the exact pain that you're feeling is on brand for America. That's why you're never going to trick me that race is not an important subject. That's why you're never going to trick me that race is not an important subject. Because just because something happened to a white Christian nationalist, a racist, a bigot, y'all then somehow y'all found y'all way to Black people once again. Whenever something happens in the white community, it's never, hey, this is white on white crime. Somehow y'all once again ended up at the doorstep of Black people. The sad part is your version of mourning is targeting Black and brown people. This is why you can never fool me that race is not an important subject to talk about.
Okay, so boom. So Charlie Kirk is gone, and the suspect is Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old born and raised in Utah. White man, white state, white target. This was violence from inside the house, and yet somehow the aftermath landed squarely on Black people. So right after the news popped that Charlie had got popped, Big Perm and his people didn't waste no time blaming everybody but somebody like Robinson, okay? Who, by the way, isn't registered with any political party, hasn't voted, and we don't know how long according to public records. And then according to investigators, I guess had on similar clothes to the ones the suspect had on the day of the shooting, whatever that's supposed to mean. Instead of owning the violence in their own ranks, Big Perm blamed the lunatic left, which we all know in MAGA speak is basically code for Black people and anybody who look like they listen to Beyonce. And the results are terrifying because within hours, at least 6 HBCUs, Clark, Hampton, Alabama State, Southern University, Bethune-Cookman, somebody asked Auntie Tia if her baby is okay. I think he played football here. Virginia State, and they were all basically hit with threats. And then Spelman decided to put a shelter in place because of its proximity to Clark. So all these campuses had to lock down. Students were terrified, okay? Can you imagine being a 19-year-old freshman just trying to go get you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich from the dining hall, and now all of a sudden you get a message that you got a shelter in place because some white man in Utah shot Charlie Kirk? That's the danger. That's the spillover. Black folks carry the weight of crimes we didn't commit, threats we didn't send, and violence we did not cause. And this time, it ain't even a stretch, baby. It's crazy. It's off the chain, okay? Think about it. A white man killed another white man in a crowd of mostly white people, and still somehow, Black students, hundreds of miles away, are forced to pay the price. This is the twisted logic of American politics. When whiteness pulls the trigger, Blackness takes the bullet. So now let's be crystal clear, okay? Tyler Robinson didn't just endanger the people at that rally. He lit the match that put Black people across this country in the crosshairs. Because in America, the crime doesn't have to involve us for the consequences to find us anyway.
The attempt to link HBCUs to Charlie's unaliving shows how quickly America finds a way to place Black institutions in the middle of political drama. HBCUs were built to give black students access to education at a time when segregation kept them out of white universities. They've been standing for more than a century, surviving Jim Crow, systemic racism, and decades of underfunding. And yet, every time a political figure connected to far-right movements faces backlash or controversy, somehow the story gets twisted into a conversation about black spaces. Why? Because scapegoating black people is America's oldest habit. What's happening now is that some conservative voices are trying to spin Charlie's death as part of a bigger war on conservatism. In their minds, HBCUs, places that have nothing to do with him, became symbolic targets. They're framing these colleges as safe havens for left-wing ideology, as if the existence of black education is somehow part of their loss. But let's be real. Charlie wasn't fighting for black students. He wasn't defending HBCUs, and he certainly wasn't a champion of black advancement. So why are these institutions suddenly being painted as villains in this story? This is gaslighting on a massive scale. Instead of having an honest conversation about Kirk's own rhetoric, the bigotry, the hate speech, the misinformation, people are choosing to blame institutions that had no connection to him. It's a deflection tactic. If they can turn the conversation toward HBCUs, they don't have to face the uncomfortable truth about the toxicity Kirk spread during his lifetime. And it's ironic, because these are the same groups that have historically opposed funding for black colleges, mocked affirmative action, and downplayed system racism in education. The danger of this narrative is that it puts HBCUs at risk for absolutely no reason. These schools already face constant struggles, budget cuts, lack of federal and state support, and pressure to prove their relevance in a system that favors white institutions. Now, adding Charlie's death into the mix as some kind of excuse to target them, that's reckless and dangerous. It stirs up resentment. It fuels the idea that black spaces are part of the problem, and it makes them vulnerable to political attacks. Let's not forget, Charlie built a platform attacking diversity, equity, and inclusion. He was against student loan forgiveness. He dismissed systemic racism, and he constantly mocked any movement that uplifted marginalized groups. To now suggest that HBCUs should somehow be dragged into his death is hypocrisy at its highest level. The very communities he never stood up for are being blamed in the aftermath. It's like saying, we lost one of ours, so let's punish institutions that represent the exact people he opposed. This also shows how fragile American conservatism has become. Instead of taking responsibility, instead of acknowledging that maybe Kirk's words fuel division, they search for enemies to point fingers at. And black institutions, as always, become the easy scapegoat. It's lazy politics. It's a distraction from the real issue, which is the culture of hate that Kirk himself fed into. Think about it. No one is talking about the impact of Kirk's words on immigrants, women, or LGBTQ communities. No one is talking about how his rhetoric damaged conversations around unity in America. Instead, it's HBCUs that get dragged into the fire. That's because America has always been quick to turn the spotlight on black people, even when the problem has nothing to do with them. It's the same pattern seen during protests, elections, and social movements. When in doubt, blame blackness, but black people aren't falling for it. The reaction from many in the community has been one of disbelief. People are shaking their heads, saying, here we go again, another mess that doesn't belong to us, being dumped at our feet. And they're right. This isn't about HBCUs. This isn't about black students. This is about America refusing to confront the truth about Charlie Kirk's legacy.
It hasn't even been, 24 hours and they've already targeted 5 HBCUs? And since when did a single black person have anything to do with this? At all? In Utah? And everyone they've identified as a suspect or potential suspect is clearly, very obviously not black? Yet again, black Americans are the ones that face the most bullshit, having done nothing to warrant an ounce of it, ever. Again. The story, it's almost like someone has to be writing, the same author has to be writing all of these books, because you're really trying to target black people because likely what it seems like is a white person did something, and targeting education as if black Americans already do not feel safe enough on college campuses, whether it's an HBCU or not, because of people like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's presence on a college campus equals unsafe to anyone that isn't a cis, white, straight person, usually man. Like, it is 100% all interconnected. Like, the amount of infiltration and lack of safety and violence that Charlie Kirk has already done and now continues to do from hell is just not surprising, still infuriating, and impactful, to say the least. Now they have to shut down operations for a week, like, or the rest of the week at least. This is... When you see the rage and the frustration and the exhaustion of Black people, especially Black women, don't question it. Don't question it.
The irony is that HBCUs remain one of the most powerful symbols of resilience in America. Despite centuries of oppression, they continue to produce leaders, innovators, and scholars. They remain a space where Black excellence thrives in the face of systemic barriers. To try and tie them into the downfall of a man who spent his career tearing down diversity is not only disrespectful, is laughable. It shows how desperate some people are to avoid accountability. This whole situation also highlights a deeper issue. America has a problem with letting Black people just exist. Even when the story isn't about them, somehow it gets turned into a conversation about them. Whether it's politics, sports, or culture, Black spaces are always pulled into battles they didn't ask for. And that's exactly what's happening here. Charlie Kirk's unaliving has nothing to do with HBCUs, but the narrative being pushed makes it seem like they're part of the problem. So the question becomes, what's next? Are HBCUs going to face backlash in policy, funding, or public opinion simply because people are trying to attach them to this tragedy? Are politicians going to use this as an excuse to undermine support for Black education? The possibility is real, and it's why this narrative needs to be called out for what it is. Nonsense. At the end of the day, Charlie's death is a reflection of his own path, his own choices, his own legacy, and it is certainly not the fault of HBCUs. Trying to connect the two is not only dishonest, it's dangerous. And if America really wants to move forward, it has to stop dragging Black spaces into conversations where they don't belong. So let's be clear. HBCUs are not the enemy. They are not connected to Charlie's unaliving. They are not part of some imagined war against conservatism. They are simply institutions dedicated to uplifting Black students and preserving a legacy of resilience. And that should be respected, not weaponized for political gain. The real story here isn't about HBCUs. It's about how far some people will go to avoid accountability. It's how quickly the narrative shifts when it's time to face uncomfortable truth. And it's about how, once again, Black people are being forced into a spotlight they didn't ask for. So what do you all think? Why do you think Black institutions are always the first to be scapegoated in America's political battles? And why will America stop dragging Black people into stories that don't belong to them? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. I also have a few playlists on my channel, and if you enjoy such kind of political content, please click up here and enjoy. Also, consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel and helps YouTube recommend this video to a wider audience. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, the Joy Report out.